Boom, and we are live. So today I'm just doing a therapeutic stream with Code Wars. I'm a bit under the weather today, and I just want to chill out, write some code, relax. So this is more of a relax session. I'm gonna go through a few problem sets in Code Wars. So feel free to come along with me on this journey as we go through Code War challenges. So moving on to the next. I seem to be getting the easier challenges. I'll take this on for now. We'll start off with something light, easy, and simple. Alright, so build a function that returns an array of integers from n to 1, where n is greater than 0. So n equals, and the example we have here is n equaling 5, and we have to return all the corresponding numbers below 5, all the way to 1, all the way to the number 1. It's pretty simple. So what I'll do, I mean, the simplest way I would solve this is to do a reverse for loop, I guess. Something along the lines of for I in range. Can I pass in a number into, oh yeah, I can pass in a number directly into range. And all I would do is, since we're using range, I'll specify to stop at the last digit of the range, and we are going in reverse order, so it'll be -1. And if I'm, with my understanding, I believe this should print out the numbers from n all the way down to 1. So let's give this a try. And yeah, that looks like it's working. And I'm guessing we have to stop at number 1. So the easiest way to do this is, instead of stopping at the last index in the for loop, I'll stop at the second last index in the for loop, and that should end us at the number 1. Perfect. So if I was to return, we need to return it as an array of numbers. So then it'll be something, I'll need to create an empty array. Just call this array, or in Python it's called a list. I now need to append the values to the array like so. And if I print array out, it should contain the answer to the solution. And I'm getting -1. That's interesting. How come when I print the values out, I stop at number 1, but when I push the values into the array, I seem to be getting the value of -1. That's strange. I'm getting mixed behaviors. So -2 index should be the stopping point of the for loop. And this specifies that I'm stopping at the second last digit in the for loop. That the for loop should stop at the second last digit in the for loop, then why am I printing the result of -1 and 0? What if I was to change this to -0? Does that do anything? I guess that's the fix. So -0 is, in fact, the second last index within this for loop range. And that -1 is the last index. Okay, so that makes more sense. Alright, so if I was to return the array, this should solve the challenge. Perfect. Now I could simplify this as well. I mean, it's a bit verbose right now. And to simplify it, what I'll do is let me see if I can solve this in a one-liner. So return I for I in range and -0 -1. So again, we're going in reverse order. I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure. Yep, exactly. So this is the one-liner, the easier way to solve this challenge. It's a pretty simple challenge actually. So I'm glad we got that out of the way, and on to the next. All right, so moving on to the next challenge. Hopefully we get a harder one. Okay, this one looks, and honestly I dislike all of these long as written challenge. Oh, this isn't so bad, but I dislike the challenges that just have a lot of written content because half the time the challenge requirements can be summarized in like 1 or 2 or 3 lines. But yet they give us this elaborate story to try and confuse us, and maybe that's a part of, you know, becoming a better developer. I guess is being able to identify the problem from, I guess, a user story. Because in the real world, I can imagine that, you know, clients will come to companies or developers with an elaborate story of their needs, and we have to identify within that story what is the core requirement for that the client is looking for. So I guess I can kind of see the value of having long written instructions, but it is a bit annoying at times. All right, so with this challenge over here, a number is called automorphic number if and only if its square ends in the same digits as the number itself. For example, 25 is an I can't even say it properly. An automorphic number because its square 625 ends with 25. It's square, so when you square 625, it ends with, oh no. So for example, 25 is an antimorphic number because its square 625 ends with 25. So when you square 25, it should equal 625, and it's an antimorphic because it ends with the original starting number of the square 25. Given a positive number, determine if it's antimorphic or not. If it is, return antimorphic, otherwise return not. And we're given several examples here. 25 is the manifold method because 25 squared ends with 25, and so return. Cool. Again, I hate I'm very bad with maths. I hate all of these maths questions, especially when working with Python. It seems to just have a lot of maths challenges you need to deal with. or maths related stuff that you need to deal with, which is very frustrating. I suck at maths. But anyways, so the number that we're given, is it squared, or we're just given the number as is? Looks like we're just given the number as is. So what I'll do in this case is, I guess I'll print out the initial number first to see what we're working with, and I'm gonna square the number. So I don't know, how do you perform a square again? It'll be n times n, I guess. I'll just call this square and print out like so. Okay, let's give this a try. Let's see what we get. All right, so the number 1 squared 1. So this is an antimorphic, of course. So we can already identify an edge case in that if we get the number 1, we should just return antimorphic automatically, because 1 cannot be squared. The square root of 1 is 1. So off the bat, I can just write a quick code. I can just write code to solve this edge case. So if n equals 1, we're gonna return automorphic, like so. All right, so I'll leave that as is for now. Now moving forward, so not, this is the last digit is 25 is as well, 53 is not. Okay, so there's a few things I need to figure out. I know if I use modular, I can get the last digit of any number, of every number, and compare it to the original n. So I can get, using modular, I can get the last digit of the squared number, and I'll check if it equals the number that we're given, in this case n. But then this only checks for single digit numbers. What if n is a double digit number, like so? So what I would need to do is I'll need to get the length of n, right? Once I get, or I need to know just how many digits are in n, whether it's a 1-digit number, 2-digit number, etc. Once I'm able to identify that, I can then check the amount of digits within n. I can check those values from the squared value that we get from this, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me see. Okay, so we're gonna square the values using the variable sqr. Now what I want to do is I want to get the length of n, right? So I'll need to convert it to a string first. So using the str function, I'll pass in n, and I'll call this n str. Then with this, to get the length, using the length function, I'll pass in the string of n. Now I have the length, and let me just check that I am getting the right length of the string. Length is not defined. Oh, I spelled it incorrectly here. All right, so I'm getting perfect. Now with the length, this is pretty simple. So all I need to do now is I just need to, using the slice operator, using the slice function in Python, I can simply just do something like square, starting from the length, no, that doesn't work. This allows me to check a range between a starting point and an end point of a list. But this is a number, not a list, so I can't actually use that unless I convert it to a string first. I'm just trying to see what is the best way to solve this. So if the length is equal to, let's say, 2, right? So there's 2 digits within n, and I now need to check the last 2 digits of the squared value. Now, how would I do that? What's the cleanest way I can do it? I guess I can using the slice function. I can start at, but then using this will give me. Nah, that's not gonna work. The slice function isn't gonna work here. Well, I mean, look, I can do the long verbose way using a for loop. So for I in range, something like for I in range length. So now I can now check so for I in range length, for I in range, I can now check the last digits, the last 2 digits of the squared variable, and I'll pass this into so I'll create a temporary variable temporarily. So this will store the temporarily. This will store the values, the last 2 or the last digits from the squared, from this SQR variable that holds the square of n. So I can do something like SQR SQR so getting the stringed version of I'll also need to convert this to a string as well to be able to get the digits from it. So in order to do so, I'll create another variable called SQR string, and I'll pass the string into the str function. And now I have the string value of the squared variable, and with this I can now check the last digits of it, like so. So doing something like length -1 will get me the last digit in this of the squared value, right? And what I can do now as well is, because I'm using a for loop and I'm ranging the length of n, I'll pass in I, and if I print this out, I should get the last couple of digits of the squared value if I don't run into any errors, and I did. String index out of range. Now, why is that the case? I'm getting the length of the string minus I. So minus I, because I'm starting at range 0, that makes sense. So to be more explicit, I want to start at I want I to start at number 1, and because I'm starting at number 1, I need to add 1 to length as well, just so that the range is even. So now this should print out the last couple of digits within square based upon the length of n. So if let me print out the length of n, so I can make sure that we are all right, so length of n is 1. I'm getting 9 as the last digit, and if I'm also going to print out the squared value as well. I know this is a bit messy and all over the place right now, but we're getting somewhere. Cool. So I have n equals 3, the squared value of 3 is 9, the length of n is 1, and 9 is obviously the last digit. Okay, why is length coming up? Okay, let me get one where length is, all right, so n is 25, so the length of n is 2, correct, and the squared value 625, and I'm getting the last 2 digits, which is 25. Cool. So that means it is an anthropomorphic number. Now what I want to do now is I'm going to append this value to, so temp.append, like so, and I'm going to print out temp. Now hopefully it'll print out the values in the right order, but I don't think it will. I think that the values in the TMP variable will be printed in reverse order, so I'll just need to reverse it afterwards. But let me just see what we get first. Okay. You know, let me create this variable outside of for loop. That way I can check it once the for loop is complete. Once the loop is complete, cool. So like I said, it's being printed in reverse order because it's going in the order of which we are accessing the number from the squared string in this for loop. So I mean, all I have to do is simply use a reverse, something along the lines of TMP equals reversed TMP, like so, and this should print out the values in the right order. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, that's not what I expected it to do. Or is reverse only for list items? You know, let me not overcomplicate it. I will start at length plus 1. I will start at the length of let me not overcomplicate this. So this should get the order correct, and it's not doing that. Why is that? So starting at so the for loop range starting at length plus 1, Oh yeah, going in and then going in reverse order. I'm overcomplicating this challenge. I know that for a fact. I'm over engineering this. I think it's -1 or -0 is the last. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm getting 26 instead of 25 here. Why is it? And it's still coming in the wrong. It's in the wrong order. So it's not making sense at all. I'm sure my logic is off somewhere because I'm starting the for loop at. No, I think that's a JavaScript method. Look, I'm overcomplicating this. Let me just start from the scratch. Wow. Okay, so and anthropomorphic numbers. So cool. We're trying to check if the number is an anthropomorphic number. So once the number is squared, so square equals n times n. So we have the squared value, and we're trying to check if the squared value, if the original value is within the squared value. I mean, this is simple. Something along the lines of if n in square prints yes. I mean, I can turn it into a string first. So if string cool. All right, so it's simple. So the simplest way I can solve this is by comparing string value. So if the string value of n is in the string value of the squared value, then I just return automorphic, like so. Else return not. Okay, why is one failing? And it's the last test. 100. 100 squared is what? You know, let me do some print statements. Square. One hundred in 100,000. 110,000. Well, so that's 1,000, and this is 10,000. Okay, I can see how this might be faulty in a case like this. I mean, look, I can do it this way actually. All right, I found the best way to do this. Cool. So I'll get the string value of square, like so, and I'll get the string value of n. So n string, like so. Cool. Now all I need to do is I need to get the length of n. Boom. Now using the slice operator, using the slice function, I can do this. So I'm getting the what I'm doing is I'm going to check from the starting point of length to the end of the squared string value. I'm going to check if this equals n, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. I just thought about it. I was on the right track earlier, and I just completely like forgot what I was trying to do. Cool. So as you can see here, so length is not inclusive of its index. It only checks the index's values after itself. So I'll need to do something like length minus 1. Cool. So now I'm getting every value based upon the length of n from its squared value. So then I can do a direct comparison like so. So if the string version of n equals the slice No, actually, not. It shouldn't be equals. It should be if the string version of n is in the sliced array. Yeah, perfect. Wow, I don't know why that took me so long to complete. Oh my days, that was a good challenge. I think I butchered it. Now I can refactor this. I can surely refactor this to be more efficient. Okay. Let me see if I can. I probably can't do it in one line. So return not if the string version, if the number string is not in else let's see if this works. Yeah, cool. So it is slightly simplified on one line. Now I just need to see which variables do I need to do I not need. So I don't need I need that slice square. No, I don't need this actually. I don't need this. And I probably don't even need this if statement up here. Actually, no, I do. What's this? End string is not defined. Now I'm sure there's a way easier way to solve this than I did. I think I went a bit overboard with this, trying to like over-engineer it. But at least I came up with a solution. I don't know why it took me so long. I'm a bit rusty with Python, so just trying to see if there's a way that I can simplify this. If there's any way I could. I'll look at the other solutions that are provided here. Return. Wow, there's a shorthand for anything in Python. Ends with string and makes sense. If string squared ends with string and yeah, definitely simpler ways of solving what took me a while to. Even this method as well. S equals string, t equals string squared, and then return amorphic if. Yeah. Oh well. On to the next. I'm gonna skip this. We keep getting all these simple challenges. You know, I'll take this one on just for fun, and then I'll try and get a harder challenge in the next go. All right, so deoxyribonucleic, I can't even say that word, acid. DNA is a primary information storage molecule in biological systems. It is composed of 4 nucleic acid bases. Dude, I'm not even gonna try and say all of that. Look, where's the meat to this? RNA is a primary messenger molecule in cells. RNA differs slightly from DNA. Its chemical structure contains, oh man, create a function that create a function which translates a given DNA string into RNA. For example, GCAT equals GCAU. The input string can be of arbitrary length. In particular, it may be empty. All input is guaranteed to be valid. Each input string will only ever consist of G, C, A, and slash or T. Oh man, what is this? Yeah, look, I'm gonna skip this one. I'm not bothered to. When I see challenges like these, I'm just like, come on, man, give me something practical. Um, Skip. I want to get a harder one. Skip. I want to get a hard challenge. Skip. Something along the lines of like a 6 euro square building blocks. No, let me get a harder one. Skip. Okay, cool. We got one. Let's see this. All right. Build a pyramid-shaped tower as an array slash list of strings given a positive integer. Number of floors. A tower block is represented with star character. For example, a tower with 3 floors looks like this. Cool. And a tower with 6 floors looks like this. Got you. Alright, so we're building the pyramid tower as an array of strings given a positive integer, which will be the number of floors. A tower block is represented with the star character. Cool. So when we're given the number of floors of 3, we're to build a star pyramid, or we're to build a pyramid like so. So 1 looks like it's going up by 2. So 1, 3, 5, and then the next one after 5 will be 7. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and it'll be 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Cool. So we're to build a tower based upon the amount of floors that we're given. And on each floor increments by 2, starting from 1. So it'll be pretty much, I'm assuming it'll be something along the lines of n floors times 1 plus 2. So it'll be 1, 2, 3 times 1. No, that's not correct. So this is 9. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and then 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So what it looks like to me is it is always the squared. The amount of stars is the squared is the number of floors squared. So 6 squared equals 36. I think that's right. My maths is bad. 3 squared equals 9. 3, 6, 9. 6, 12, 18, 24, 32, 36. Yep. So it's the number of floors is always squared, and that's the amount of stars that we have to create the pyramid. Now we're able to get the amount of stars. I'm just gonna note this down. Num stars will equal n floors squared, or like so. Or I could represent it like, yeah, n floors squared. Cool. Now, based on the number of stars, how would the pyramid be arranged? So 1, 3, 5. So it's going up by 2s, starting from 1. So if that's the case, then a simple loop would solve this. So for I in range num stars, we can do something like, let me create a variable called pyramid, which will be an array, and what we're going to do is we're going to create an incrementer as well. Increments. This would be set at 0 for now. And after every for loop, we want this to increment by plus equal 2. We want this to increment by 2s. And we want to add the stars to the pyramid on every cycle of the for loop. So pyramid dot append and then I. Now if we're using range starts at index of 0, at an index of 0. So we want to start at 1 for this, and because we're starting at 1, we're basically shifting the range over. So we're going to end at +1. I'm pretty sure this should solve the challenge. Let me yeah, so I believe then it's just alright, so I shouldn't be appending the actual digit. I need to append the stars. Okay. Now how will I represent these as stars? I guess simple. So what I will do now is then I'll just make the incrementer an array. Actually, what am I doing? So it should be something like I plus incrementer, right? This is if we were to add numbers to the pyramid directly. And 1, 3. Okay, so yeah, my calculation is definitely wrong. Let me have a look at what we're getting here. Number of floors is 1, num stars 1, pyramid 1, cool. Number of floors is 2, num stars is 4. So there's 4 stars, and that's represented as 3 and 1. Alright, so I'm getting the amount of stars correct, but see, the for loop is the problem, because it's going, the for loop is, the loop is iterating on every single star within num stars, within the num stars variable, whereas I should be going through the amount of floors as opposed to stars. So I should be using the range for the number of floors, of course, and for each floor I will collect. Okay, so for I in range, starting at 0, if there's 4 floors, so starting at 1, stopping at, so if there's 4 floors, I don't want to use index 0, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. All right, so at least we're getting the same amount of the length of data is correct for the pyramid. Now and I'm getting the actual right score. Oh no, 3. This should be 3, not 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should be 5, not 7. Incrementer is going up by 2. Okay, you know what? Instead of starting at index 1, let me just start at 0. Alright, I think I know how to solve this now. So I will equal a star, like so. And incrementer will start off with 1 star and will be a string value. So I'll convert the increment variable to a string, and it'll start off as 1 star. I will always equal 1 star, except for the first time around the for loop. So if I is greater than 0, so we're going to skip the first cycle on the for loop. If I is greater than 0, then we want this to take place. and then the incremental will be increasing by 2 stars. Like so. The first cycle on in the for loop will return. The first cycle in the for loop, first time around, because increment is 1 star, the first cycle in the for loop will have okay, so this should, now let's give this a try now. This should hopefully be working as expected. So the first cycle is 1 star, that's correct. So the pyramid, for this test case, I have 1 star on the first floor of the pyramid, and then 4 stars on the second floor when it should be 3 stars. What I'll do is I'll leave increment as is for now. Then increment will be +2, sorry, stars. And on the first cycle of the for loop, then I wouldn't need this if statement then. Alright. So let's give this a try now. I equals star, like so. And looks like it's working as expected. I'm getting the right amount of stars for each floor of the pyramid. As expected, 1, 3, and then 5, and so on. So if I return this right now, it should pass the test, or it should pass the challenges, or it should pass all tests. And of course it doesn't. So which one is failing? 1, 3. So 1 star first layer, 3 stars. Second layer should equal. Why is there a space? Oh, don't tell me I have to factor in the space as well. Are you serious? Why? So it looks like the space increases based upon the amount of layers within the with the amount of floors passed into the function. Looking at this test case, this test assertion here, with n floors being 3, with number of floors being 3, it looks like there's space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There should be space for 5 stars and the top layer of the pyramid, but only 1 star appears. Okay, so how is this gonna work? 9 stars in total. I'm just looking at this example here to see how I can achieve what they want me to achieve. There's 9 stars here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the bottom, and there's space for 5 on every floor. So 5, 10, 15. So I need to have 15 cycles in the for loop, essentially. But it's 9 stars. 9. So that's 6 additional. Okay, so I need to determine then just how many what is the I need to well, I'm losing my words. I need to first and foremost determine what the last row of the pyramid, the amount of stars the last row of the pyramid will have, based on determining just how many stars will be included in the last row of the pyramid. I now need to include spaces for the rows above that. So based on my calculations then, the amount of stars is based upon the square of the number of floors. That's the amount of stars included. The number of floors on each floor increments by 2 stars. So to get the final floor, to get the amount of stars on the last floor, it'll be something like the number of floors times 2, because we're incrementing by 2 on each floor. Is my maths mathing? Is it making sense? Okay, so number of floors. Let me just check it with this here. Let me check my hypothesis with this example here. So I've got 1, 2, 3 number of floors here is 3. So 3 times 2 will be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 5 stars at the bottom. So that's incorrect. Let me try it with this one. 6 floors. 6 times 2, 6, 12, and there's 11 stars at the bottom. So it looks like the formula is number of floors times 2 minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called what will I call it? The final floor, last floor. I'm just gonna call it last floor stars. Or I'll call it max stars, and this will equal the number of floors times 2 minus 1. Cool. Now once we've determined the max number of stars, the row that has the max number of stars, we need to now do, because I am going through each, the number of floors is the amount of rows within the pyramid. Cool. I now need to add space. Because we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I now need to divide. I need to find the midpoints of each floor in the pyramid based upon the number of stars on the floor. So it'll be the number of stars on the floor divided. No, it'll be max floor or max stars divided by the number of stars within the floor. So in this case, because the max stars for this example will be 5, so 5 divided by, let's just say we're at the first one, 5 divided by 1 will equal 5. Doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And then 6 floors looks like this. Or would it be 5 minus 1 will equal 4? Uh, I don't get why the challenge is this way. It doesn't make sense. Because now, how do I know that I'm putting in the spaces in the right position, the empty spaces in the right position? So space with stars. So it'd be space S and space S. So I create a variable called space S. I will make this I'll make this an empty string, and this will contain yeah, I'm so lost. I am so lost with this. I don't know how I'm going to. Maybe I need to look at it differently. How am I going to include the spaces in amongst the stars? I guess I need to find the middle point. So from what I'm thinking off the top of my head, I'm going to subtract, so the max number of stars will subtract, so the max S will subtract the current star counts. So what I'm thinking of doing here is I'm getting I equals star, and then star count. I'll create a variable called star counts, and this will be I plus increments, like so. So now I have the variable that's storing all the stars for the row, for this row right here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to subtract star count from max. So max S minus star count. Remainder would equal max stars minus the star counts for the row. Now I now need to get the midway points of remainder. So it'll be midpoints would equal divided by 2. So now we have the midpoint determined, or let me just call it mid. And what I can now do is midpoint will equal an empty space, like so. So now I can then add alright, so midpoint will equal a number from this, right? And then I want to add the amount of I want to add spaces to the amounts of number. I want to add spaces. I want to add spaces based upon what this value of midpoint is, right? So I want to add spaces to the power of midpoint. Now I don't know if I can I do something like space that's surely that's not going to work. Or I could do something like space will equal no, but midpoint is a number. Now convert this to a string. Man, this is some madman science I'm trying to do right now. The code may not even run. Max unsupported operator. Max S minus star counts. Well, it is somehow working. I am somehow getting the space. No, I don't know if it's the right amount of space I am getting, but let me try it. This is crazy. Um, yeah, I don't think it's accurate though. Let me see what is being stored in midpoint. 0.0. Oh yeah, because it is. Let me turn this to an integer. All right. So then spaces should return. The space variable should have no space if the value is 0. So I need to have something that checks. Okay. Looks like it's kind of working now. So, and now because the star count is evenly placed within the spaces on each floor, I would then need to add it like so. Okay, there's a few things I need to tidy up. Um, okay, first I'll take this off. And I need to check that there should be no spaces if it's only one row. Um, if this is 0, there should be no spaces. Yeah, actually, no, I'll leave that back on. Um, I don't see how different mine is from the solution. The solution is, it's got 2 spaces. I've got the 1 space. Okay, I see what's happening. But then how can I fix that? The width of the space should be equivalent to the number of stars at the last row, so the max stars. You know what? I'm overcomplicating. I'm sure I can do something along the lines of space will equal an empty space bracket, and then space to the power of 2. So something along the lines of, I can do like, I can create a space variable like so. Using the space variable, it'll hold the value of a single space, and then space times would that work? That is crazy. I somehow oh, what? This has to be the craziest. Yeah, I need some work. I don't know how I managed to solve that, but hey, it works. So I just added a variable, using the space variable. I just gave it an empty single space, and then I multiply the space variable to the amount of remaining space available when we subtract the max stars within the last row of the pyramid to the length of the total star counts for the specific row we are on. Wish I could explain that a lot more simple, and I'm losing my English the more that I speak. Alright, so I'm sure there's an easier way we can there's definitely an easy way to write this. I think I drastically overcomplicated this. let me see. Okay, so if I'm refactoring this, how would I refactor it? First and foremost, increments. So star count will plus equals I plus 2 stars. Then I'll need to create the variable separately. I guess I can combine these two together. So midpoint will equal max stars minus the length of the star counts divided by 2. And I'll pass this into an integer. I'll pass this as an integer like so. And within this int, I'll wrap these two up so that they get executed first. Yeah, so it works the same way. So I've just refactored that part of the code. What else? So I have a empty space created, and then space times p. I can simply just pop it in like this, passing the empty space quotations directly as opposed to using an additional variable to pass it in. So that removes an additional line of code. Am I even using this variable? Number of stars, n floor times n floor. I'm not using this variable at all. I don't think so. So if I take this out, I've just saved another line of code. Cool. The pyramid, I need increments, yes. Max number of stars, I need. Or do I? Max, I'm not even using this as well. Oh yeah, I am within this. Yeah, I guess this is the most that I can refactor this according or based upon my way of solving this challenge. I'm sure there's better ways out there. This was definitely a fun challenge. Um, I do need to brush up on my Python skills. Cool. So if I submit this, um, and we're done. Yeah, look. Come on, man. You know how bad this makes me feel looking at this? Come on, bro. Are you serious? Hey, I mean this is even better than my solution, to be honest. Come on, bro. Are you serious? Look at this. This is a lot cleaner than mine as well. Hey, at least I got. At least I beat somebody. At least I have a more succinct solution than somebody else. So that's alright. Look, every time I come to this page, I just kind of like, I get some sort of like, I just almost feel discouraged looking at other people's solutions and then comparing it to mine. Like, come on. And where's my solution again? Um, I'm gonna start this challenge. Actually, this is actually quite this was a fun one. What I like doing, what I enjoy doing the most is being able to revisit past challenges, seeing my past solutions, and seeing what I decided to go with. Comparing my past solutions with my current solutions. I guess it just kind of shows you the growth in terms of your understanding of the code, of the challenge, and it's good to go back and forth with to previous challenges and attempt reattempting them again. But yeah, look, I didn't get through too many today. I think I did about three or four. But look, I had fun, enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as well. And on to the next. Sorry, I just was drifting. Yeah, and I look forward to the next stream. See you guys.